Hey everyone, welcome to Weekend Project. I'm Laura Lynn of the Mom and Pop Quilt Shop, and we are very happy to see you here today. We are working on a project that I actually kind of need for the long arm, and maybe some other long armers might need it too. I have a collection of like little bits and bobs from around the quilt shop that I'm making use, and I'm going to make a quilt support hammock for my long arm. So I have some, it's only about 22 inches wide. I would say it's like a super lacy kind of curtainy bit. I have no idea where I got this or where it came from. It has more of a lovely little soft textured side, and it's very loose weave on it. So what I want to do is to be able to use it. It's about 66 inches long. So use it as that is the cradle for the hammock. And then because the edges are so kind of wispy, I want to make them a little bit stronger by adding some binding to it. So I chose some really funky fabric that I have here, so why not go big and bold? So this is a strip of 5 inches wide by 2 widths of the lengths of the fabric, so it's more than what I need for it to get across this project. And then what I did is I folded it on itself, ironed it, and then folded it again with the 2 edges into each other, and then that's going to be my nice thick enough hopefully to catch all those wispy bits on the edge. Okay, so the plan is to strengthen up the side edge and then add this little bit of like thicker elastic, and I've got this one strip and I'm just going to cut it into the 4 pieces I need. I'm just going to go halvesies and halvesies and then cut it. And then I have, to keep the hammock in place on the long arm, there's a few spots that I can attach it that's not going to get in the way of when I use it for quilting. And it would help support the batting and the quilt and everything else up off the floor. It's not putting any stretch on the batting or anything else like that. It's kind of, you know, cradling it in a hammock. So I have little strips that I'm going to add to the ends of these to come up to the long arm to be able to be attached. So, and then I have a 2-button method that I'm going to use. I'm going to, on a strip of 4 inches wide, I did 4 strips of them, and again folded it just a little bit upon itself like a binding edge, and then I will sew it down, and then I'm going to add a button, sew that down, and then add another button and sew that down. And then for on the other end of the elastic, so I guess we need 8 strips, my bad, I'm sorry, 8 strips, because you need 2 for each, then to come up on either side. Then you take that and then you just kind of loop it once it's stayed completely through the 2 buttons, and that'll help hold it into place. So that's my idea, and that's what I'm going to go with, and here's hoping it works. So here we go. First we're going to take our material. Actually, we're just going to take these, move it off to the side, move it back to the side, and finish this off one first, okay? Because we need to add it to both sides. So this is our 5 inches thick by 2 widths of fabric, right? I just did a straight seam to it. I didn't even care about whether anybody's going to ever see it or not, because I just need to add a little bit of structure to that side part of that, the curtainy part, lace curtain. So just want to make sure that got folded in half. So I'm folding it in half upon itself, like this. And then I'm going to do the halves again. So this will go into that little press seam. But it's so much easier to see if you press it in half at first, okay? I know this is more than what we need, but I want to make sure that we had enough to go from edge to edge. We're just going to tuck in the edges of the binding as we go. Alright, so there we go from that part there to folding it in on itself. That raw edge into the middle, this raw edge right into the middle, and then up just like that. So it's a very thick binding. Okay, I thought maybe even putting a little bit of rope in there. I may leave it open just to see if I may need to do that down the line. So I've never made a hammock for my long arm before, so I'm learning as we're going. Once it gets this made, we'll attach it to the sides. Okay, now we're going to take this part right here and attach it to our lacy curtain. Now this could be a little bit process demanding. I'm going to have to pin this quite a bit maybe. I'm trying to figure out what is the best way to kind of get that in there and wrap it around. Just kind of thinking like that. Let's just tuck this here. We got a chunk of our elastic that we should probably put in that section as well. I'm thinking actually I might use this just as this it is, and then the button on the other side, and then that comes up and around over on the piece. Let's save myself a strap. So I had 4 at first, and I thought, well, maybe I need 8. And I'm like, I really don't need 8. Let's make it work. Let's make it work with what we have. Okay, so we're gonna fold that raw edge in, tuck the center in for the lacy bit. Okay, let's pop a pin in here. We'll come back to the end when we're sealing up the elastic. And we'll just kind of tuck this in and do some pins as we go, and then we'll just sew it down and keep it in. We'll go right to the closest here as possible. That way, if we need to add a rope later, we have plenty of room to be able to do that. So let's just pop a few pins in, and then we'll sew it. Okay, we're at the end, and we're just gonna sew it down. Okay, and we'll do that to both sides. Okay, just add some stability to this, you know, hammock idea. Okay. We got everybody in, so that'll help stiffen up this whole edge, but still have a nice light weight to the project. It is a warm day here. I'm going to stay a little bit away from the edge because I do want to add my elastic, so I just want to get this sorted out first. Let's get it started. I'm going to do a bigger stitch allowance, like, you know, 7 point. Mine doesn't go to 7. Does yours go to 7? I meant 4, not 7. Okay, and then just make sure you're getting both the front, the top and the bottom of where you're trying to enclose the fabric. Okay. Like, you may have an old top sheet you want to use, or, you know, fitted sheet, something, a panel that, you know, you don't want to use for anything else. It's a nice big panel or whatever. You can make it as a hammock for your quilts. Okay. Make sure we're tucked up in there. We are. Now, I didn't go to make sure these two edges were the same or whatever. I'm just putting them on. I mean, it's not rocket science. Okay, so we're kind of popped out a bit here, so let's tuck it back in. Okay, we just kind of want to hold it as we come to the stitching part of it. Okay, we don't want too much, just enough. It's like a little bit Goldilocks moment. Just enough. Okay, we're almost there, almost to the other end. Oops. Pins were getting hooked on the lace. It's okay. And again, I'm not going right to the end because I want to get my elastic in there too. So just want to get these two sections put together on the edges. Okay, and then we'll do the same to the other side. Okay, now once you have those two sides done, you can see right here, okay, just gives it a little bit more stable to it. It's a little bit more easier to have the edges flay out instead of kind of collapse in on itself. So what I want to do is I want to add straps to each of the corners. Okay, so that's 4 straps, 4 corners. I want to be able to attach it Obviously, oh, sorry, wrong bit. This elastic bit here, it's going to go to a certain point, which I think I had measured about 20 inches, and that's going to add a lot of play for cradling your quilt. And then from that part there, I'm going to add this other strap to there, and then this has the button combination and the elastic that can come up over any bars or little spots that are on your long arm, or maybe even around your desk if you need something to help support something like around. You can make little hammocks to be able to catch the material so it doesn't hit the floor, that sort of thing. You know, you got pets, you certainly don't want dog and cat hair all over your quilt that you're quilting up. So, use what you got and use your noodle to make something, right? All right, so let's finish that up, okay? So let's do the other straps. So what I did is I'm going to sew down here, and then for the end, I'm just going to fold it in on itself, the raw edge, and then again, and then I'm going to take a 10-inch cut of thin elastic and just kind of tuck it right in there, side by side, and then I'm just going to sew down. Okay. We're just going to pin it on one side of the elastic and through the other so it stays there. So we'll sew on down and then across, and we'll do that to the other two that we have to do. Oops. Oh yeah, that was the pin was there. Okay. Here. Tuck our little elastic in. Oops. Pop our pin in. Also, you could use a clip. I just thought of that, actually. Maybe a clip might be better. Okay, there. And then here, fold it, take the two raw edges of the elastic, tuck it in. So we got elastic in two spots, a thicker elastic right at the base where it's connected to the hammock, and a thinner one where it's going to come around whatever piece of equipment that you're going to end up holding on. Or like I say, you can make it so these are just supporters. Okay. Oops, we'll move this one a little bit closer. Okay, and we're just going to seal those up, okay? We want to allow for a little bit of flexibility, hence the elastic on both edges. We don't want it to be stiff, we want it to have a little bit of flex. Just, okay, here, there, right across. Let's move those back into position. Okay. And then I did go back and forth twice, right there, there. So that just made sure it was really sealed it up. And then from this, oh, no, I didn't, I missed it. Okay, where's our seam ripper? Here we go. We know the song, don't we? Seam ripper, you're my best friend. Do 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 do. Seam ripper, right to the very end. Seam ripper, you're my best friend. Seam ripper, right to the very end. Okay, we're just going to work these stitches out here. Yes, it is a custom song of the Mama Pop Quilt Shop, made up for eons ago. Okay, now let's do that again. Have our one bit of elastic. Make sure we're tucking it all the way so we're feeling it at the back of the fold. Okay. What the fold is, let's make sure we're getting it all the way pushed up to the back. Okay. All right, let's try and get that done again. Sorry. Okay, is that good? Oh yeah, there we go, nice and strong. And then here, from here, we would put the buttons just right about here. I would do 3 inches, and it was kind of sitting in the 4th inch part. So then that gave lots of room for it to come around and loop. Or if you wanted, you could do like a twist loop in between. Okay, it's whatever holds it the best for you, right? So we don't want it popping right out. Okay, all right. So we're gonna do that a couple more times. Okay, once we get the straps with the smaller straps with the little elastic all made, we're going to put on our buttons. Okay, you can do 1 button or 2 button. That's completely up to you. I just figured maybe the 2 button might make it a little bit more secure, but you know, could be just false sense of security. Put a few stitches in to hold the bottom button, and then work your way to add the top button. Okay. And it doesn't really matter, you know, what is what. So just if this is only a 2, then make sure you're only going over a 2, and it's a nice set or space. You want a bigger one on the bottom and then a smaller one at the top. Okay. And it's, oops, wrong one. There we go. Okay. Up 1, down in the other. And then do that about 4, 5, 6 times, just to keep it nice and secure. Other things to do. Okay, you're just going to tie it off at the back there. And then I always like to tie off and then move the thread over to the front, or like in between the fabric and the button, and then just give it a little snip, okay? So we're going to do that to the other 2 sets of straps, okay? And we'll catch you when we're done that. Okay, once I have all my buttons attached that my elastic is going to slip through to be able to hold my hammock in place, I want to be able to attach the other part of the elastic too. So I've realized it would be easier if I could just kind of slip it in and stitch it down. So the best option for that is to just pinking shear this edge, okay? So we'll pinking shear that edge, slip the elastic inside, get it in there about 1/4 of an inch or so. It's about a 1/2 inch. I'd say it's about a 1/2 inch in there, okay? We're just going to pop a pin in there to hold it, and then we're just going to stitch that down. So this is going to go to, that gets attached to the long arm part, and then this is the other part that's going to get attached to our hammock. I guess it doesn't really matter which way I want this to go, just because it's got a little bit of texture to it. And then this part here is going to get tucked right into here. That's why we left it as a raw edge, I mean a folded edge and open, so we could tuck that in and seal it up. Okay, and again, we'll pop a few pin or a pin in there and just make sure we're stitching that down, securing it. So these are going to come up and go around. Okay, and we'll get these ones, the elastics, put in the bottom. Okay, again, we'll just pinking shear the edge so we don't have anything to worry about. Okay, that one's already spoken for. Got 3 more to do. And I'll catch you when I attach it all to the hammock. Okay, once we have those 2 pieces together of the fabric and the elastic for the long arm machine part, we're going to attach it to the hammock part. So I've got it double pinned there. Let's do it here. I want to make sure that the button is, so it's facing like upwards, so it can like up and around. So I guess it doesn't really matter if it had a little twist in it, but you know, we are trying to aim for something here. I'm not sure what, but we're aiming for it. Fold our little raw edge in here. This will just add, because of the lace and the elastic, we really want that extra fabric here. And pop them in on both sides, okay? So there's your strap parts with your buttons, and then here's the elastic parts, and we're going to do that on both sides. Hot. I am back stitching just to give it that nice little, ooh, it's going to be okay. All right, so now we can finish off stitching this part. Oops. Trim all those out. So from there, it's attached to there, to the button there, and then this goes around whatever machine or part that you need. The button slips in between, or the elastic slips in between the buttons. I'm sure I'm making it far more difficult than it needs to be, but you know, just like that, or just slip it down over the other one, doesn't really matter. And then we're just going to do that for all the sides, get them nice and secure. Now, if this one edge, like the end edges that were there, weren't finished, I would have finished them off the same way with the binding. Okay, so that's 1, 2. Let's get the other side. There we go. We can go this way. Just to kind of finish it off. Yes, I know it didn't line up. It doesn't matter. All right, I think that's all the sizes or sides. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so the principle is to hang like a hammock, obviously hence the name, and then be able to come up over your supporting bits of your long arm or mid arm or whatever around, and then this comes up over the machine part and then clips through here and helps just support it as a nice big hammock, just like that. You can't tell me you don't know of a cat or 12 that would love to hammock in this. Have themselves a little cat nap. All right, take a look at the pictures that are of seeing it in working order. And thank you for watching, liking, and subscribing. And we greatly appreciate you here at the Mom and Pop Quilt Shop. Come join us. We live stream on Tuesdays and Saturdays. And we have 2 videos every week. So big hugs to you, and we'll see you on the next one.
Stitches of love we weave so. In this online world we come to grow. Mom and Pop Quilt Shop, where hearts align. Let's embrace the craft and let our souls shine.